Jason had always been a reasonable man. He believed in trust, respect, and boundaries in a marriage. He and his wife, Emily, had been together for 7 years. Their marriage wasn't perfect, but they had built a life together based on mutual understanding, or so he thought. That was until Emily started acting differently. It began with her phone. She never used to be so secretive, but lately, she would quickly lock her screen whenever Jason walked into the room. She would giggle at messages, smiling down at her phone like a teenager in love. Then, she started dressing differently, more makeup, tighter outfits, and suddenly, late nights out with her girls became a frequent thing. Jason wasn't the jealous type, but something in his gut told him something was off. So, one evening, as she was getting ready for another girls' night, he sat her down. "Emily, I need to ask you something," he said. She sighed, rolling her eyes. "What now, Jason? Are you seeing someone else?" Her reaction was immediate, offended, almost too defensive. "Are you serious? You think I would cheat on you? I don't know what to think. You've been acting different," she scoffed, grabbing her purse. "You're being paranoid. Maybe you should learn to trust your wife." Jason took a deep breath, looking her dead in the eye. "If you are doing something behind my back, don't. Because if I find out, I won't just walk away. I'll make sure you regret it forever." Emily just smirked. "That sounded like a threat, Jason." "It's a promise." And with that, she walked out the door, laughing to herself as if his warning was a joke. Jason wasn't one to snoop, but Emily's dismissiveness only fueled his suspicions. The next day, while she was in the shower, her phone lit up with a notification. "Last night was amazing, face blowing a kiss, can't wait to see you again." His heart pounded. He recognized the name, Ryan, Ryan was an old friend of Emily's, someone Jason had always suspected had feelings for her. When he had once asked about him, Emily had brushed it off, calling him just a buddy. Jason clenched his jaw. He could have confronted her right then and there, but no, that would be too easy. She had made her choice. Now he was going to make sure she regretted it. He took screenshots of the messages, forwarding them to himself. Then he checked their shared bank account. As expected, she had been withdrawing money frequently at an expensive hotel Jason had never been to. Instead of getting angry, Jason felt a strange sense of calm. If Emily thought she could betray him and get away with it, she was in for a surprise. That evening, when Emily returned home, she acted as if everything was normal. She kissed him on the cheek, her perfume lingering in the air, a scent he knew wasn't meant for him. "How was your night?" Jason asked, keeping his tone light. "Oh, just the usual girl talk," she replied, smiling as she kicked off her heels. Jason nodded, masking his disgust. He wanted to ask her outright, to throw the evidence in her face, but he knew that would only give her a chance to lie. No, this needed to be done right. Over the next few days, he played the role of the clueless husband perfectly. He even encouraged her to go out more, watching as she happily took the bait. But behind the scenes, Jason was preparing. Step 1. He consulted a lawyer. Fortunately, they had a prenup, one that heavily favored him in the event of infidelity. Emily had once laughed about it, saying it was just a formality. Now it was about to be her downfall. Step 2. He gathered more proof. Call logs, credit card transactions, and even security footage from the hotel, thanks to a friend who worked there. Step 3. He prepared for the final blow. Emily had no idea that her perfect little fantasy was about to come crashing down. Jason played along. He pretended everything was fine, even kissed Emily goodbye before her next girls' night. But while she was out, Jason was busy. That evening, he set everything in motion. First, he moved all his important financial assets out of their joint accounts. Since Emily had been spending money freely, she had no idea that Jason was already securing his future. Next, he met with his lawyer to finalize the divorce papers, ironclad and backed by the prenup that would leave Emily with nothing. But the final step was his favorite part. A week later, Jason arranged for a special date night at home. Candles, wine, the works. He even told Emily he wanted to make up for doubting her. She smiled, probably thinking she had him wrapped around her finger. The evening started smoothly. Emily seemed relaxed, sipping her wine and chatting about random things as if she wasn't lying to his face. Jason waited until she was comfortable before pulling out his phone. "Hey, babe, I wanted to show you something," he said casually. Emily leaned in, expecting a sweet video or a memory. Instead, she saw a screen filled with her text to Ryan. Her body stiffened. "Where did you get that?" she stammered. Jason didn't answer. He simply swiped to the next set of evidence. *** photos of her and Ryan at the hotel, timestamps, bank transactions, ***. Then, he played an audio recording of Ryan bragging to a friend about stealing a married woman. Emily's face drained of color. "Jason, I can explain?" "Don't." "There's nothing to explain," he said, his voice eerily calm. "But..." "Actually, let me explain," Jason interrupted. "You cheated. You lied. And now you're losing everything." He reached under the table and pulled out a folder. *** divorce ***. Emily's hands shook as she flipped through them. This is a joke, right?" she whispered. Jason leaned forward, his eyes cold. "Do I look like I'm joking?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "You're throwing away our marriage over a mistake?" "No, Emily. You threw it away. I'm just making sure you feel the consequences." She was panicking now. "Jason, please, I was confused. It didn't mean anything." Jason smirked. "Oh, I know. That's why it's so satisfying watching you lose everything over nothing." Emily reached for him, but Jason stood up, his chair scraping against the floor. "Pack your things," he said. "You're leaving tonight." Her lips trembled. "Where am I supposed to go?" "Ask Ryan," he said coldly. "Oh, wait. He's already seeing someone else?" Her face twisted in horror. She hadn't known. Jason turned his back, leaving her in the wreckage of her own choices. The woman who had laughed at his warning was now realizing that he hadn't been bluffing. This was only the beginning of her regret. Emily sat frozen, her hands trembling as she clutched the divorce papers. She had thought she had control, that Jason would always be there, waiting like a fool. But now, the reality was sinking in. She had lost everything. "Jason, please," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "We can fix this. I made a mistake, but I love you." Jason let out a bitter laugh. "Love? That's funny, coming from someone who's spent the last few months sneaking around behind my back." Tears streamed down her face. She reached for his hand, but he pulled away, looking at her like she was a stranger. "Jason, I don't have anywhere to go," she sobbed. "That's not my problem," he said coldly. "You didn't seem to care when you were lying in hotel beds with him. Now you want my sympathies?" She tried another tactic, her voice turning desperate. "Please don't do this. We built a life together. I made a mistake, but Jason cut her off. "You made repeated choices, Emily. And now you get to live with them." She sobbed harder, realizing that begging wouldn't work. But Jason wasn't done yet. "By the way, you might want to check your accounts," he said, his tone casual. Emily grabbed her phone with shaky hands, her breath hitching as she opened her banking app. Her balance was nearly zero. "What did you do?" she gasped. Jason shrugged. "Moved my money out. Remember that prenup? The one you thought was just a formality? Turns out it protects me from cheaters like you." Her mouth opened, but no words came out. "Your name is off the house too," Jason added. "I had the papers filed weeks ago. You have no claim to it. So, when I say you're leaving tonight, I mean it." Emily looked around the house, her home, and realized it was no longer hers. Everything, the security, the love, the stability, was gone in an instant. "Where am I supposed to go?" she asked again, but this time, her voice was hollow. Jason smirked. "I hear motel rooms are nice. You should know you spend enough time in them." Emily let out a choked sob, but Jason wasn't interested in her tears. He opened the front door. "Goodbye, Emily," he said simply. With nothing left, she stood up on unsteady legs, gathered a few of her things, and walked out into the cold night. Jason watched as she disappeared down the street, Knowing this was a moment she would regret for the rest of her life. She had disobeyed his warning. And now, she would regret it forever.